the union between sexual union between sexually people who are homosexuals or whatever is still a union. You can't say it's not a union. They have a sexual identity which is separate. It's involuntary.
Involuntary?
In the sense, well, it's involuntary in the sense that these are their sexual.
It's not a matter of choice.
Yes.
That's what they call as ascriptive.
Yes.
See, in that
they have no choice in the matter. That's how it is physically.
It could be said of both in that sense.
Sorry?
Could be said of both sets.
Yes, of course.
But that apart, it is voluntary in the sense that they choose.
Of course. I don't mean...
just like in this...
The manifestation is involuntary. Otherwise, it's of course a voluntary union. I don't mean that, Melissa. It's consensual. It's voluntary.
Your sexual orientation may not necessarily lead you to a union.
That's right. It may not. It may not. That's what I'm saying, Manas. Therefore, we are not talking about sexual orientation here, which is what I was started with. We're talking about a sexual union. And we are trying to give that a name. That's what we're trying to do, Manas. That's why you'll ask the question, what's a marriage? Right? You give it a name. Now, they may consider that this is my marriage. Who can stop anybody? How can anybody stop them from considering that this is a marriage? Nobody can stop them. There are two people who decide that they want to live together. They live together for 10 years, 15 years. They say, I'm married to him. The moment you say now, without, you must recognize it, comes the problem. You may find it in 21, you may find it in 14, you may find it anywhere else. You may not find it in the Constitution at all. According to me, it's part of your right to be and to live as you please without interference from the outside world. It's part of privacy.
And according to the recognition without, if the court were to be invited to give a declaration of recognition without,
yes,
that would amount to an imposition on others.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the core issue before your Lordship. That's really the core issue.
If I could just translate it in a very colorfully, maybe not so. It's like drawing a blank.
Yeah.
It's like firing a blank. So which means that you allow it, but outside, without, there is no acceptance, there is no...
That's really the heart of the problem.
The counterpoint to that is, there may or may not be, but that lends us dignity in our own eyes. That lends us acceptance among our society.
Yes.
And the society without, to that extent, limited extent, among our parents, among those people who are willing to accept us. That is a point you may have to deal with.
True, Malad. That's certainly an issue that your Lordships will have to consider. But the point that I'm making is, Malad, at the moment, what are they asking? They say under the Special Marriage Act, the rights given to heterosexual couples should be given to us. That's what they're asking. That's their ask, Malad. Nothing short of that. And that's what your Lordships is considering.
Mr. Sibal, when we opened the discourse, we confined it, of course, we confined them to the Special Marriage Act with the idea in which we still maintain that we are excluding the whole gamut of personal law from the debate.
Yes.
But we're not really confined only to the contours of the Special Marriage Act in deciding the broader constitution.
That I know. 14, I'm going to come to that, Malad. That's the other issue. Is it discrimination?
So when we locate the nature of marriage, the institution of the marriage, we're not really then confined only to the Special
I agree,
Marriage
Malad. Therefore,
contours.
I agree entirely. Therefore, your Lordships are also considering whether there's discrimination under 14 or not. And therefore, can you then say that this is discriminatory? But where does it go from there? That's the next question. If you find it discriminatory, where do you go from there? That's an even more difficult task, Malad.